Hey everyone, Greg Cazillo from Cazillo.com, and I'm going to do another creating photographs video today. This particular photo was taken at Eastern State Penitentiary in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, just I think it was last week we did it, or a week and a half ago, something like that. Anyway, they had a special photographer's day where you're allowed to take all of your stands and your tripods and your this and your that and your other thing. Usually they're pretty restrictive because I guess they feel it takes up too much space, I don't know. But anyway, we were allowed to do whatever we wanted, anywhere we wanted, and so that was awesome. It made a big difference in what we could create and the stuff that we were able to take with us. So, we're doing this portrait and we're actually outside. Let's go over settings first. I was at 1/160th of a second, f2.8, ISO 200. Again, it's outside, a little bit later in the day, so those settings fit it quite well. It was perfect. 160 millimeter zoom position on my 70-200 2.8 lens, and I shot it with my Nikon D3S. Then I processed the photo in Adobe Lightroom 4 with the black and white mix panel. By the way, I will mention that I've actually talked about this before in earlier black and white processing videos on Lightroom, but a lot of times when I'm processing my black and whites, I'll actually play with my white balance slider and the tint sliders so that you actually get a little bit different mix. So you might try that out in the future. Another thing is that I will have this preset available on my website if you sign up for the email newsletter by either going to this link right here or heading over to the website via the link down in the description on YouTube. Either of those, sign up for the newsletter and you will be emailed a copy of that preset. I'm not a huge fan of presets, but I often think that they're a great place to start. They give you some creative direction, I guess is a good way to think of it. I don't think that they should be applied every single time to the same photo, kind of creating the same image every time. But sometimes they can give you a good start. So that's why I thought I'd start out by offering this one as my first one. And if I have some more, they'll automatically be emailed to you once you sign up for the email newsletter, or you can then sign up in the future. This photo was taken outside in the courtyard, kind of in the middle of the penitentiary, where I guess where people that were in the pen were able to kind of move around. Anyway, there was a really nice area. It actually sloped down a little bit, which is why you see that little bit of an angle of the wall that she's actually sitting on versus the nice straight lines of the window in the background. So if I wanted to take it into Photoshop and fix that wall, I guess I could. It would take a lot of time, and I'm just not really into photoshopping it that much, so I think I'm just going to leave it as is. But it was later in the evening. I think it was probably around 7 o'clock, 7:30. Later in the day, the light's coming from the side, the sun's coming from the side. Although it was pretty diffused light, which is a good thing. There was a little bit of overcast that was kind of in and out, which is perfect. That's what we want. We want that nice soft light. No additional flash, anything like that. Initially, the model was lying down on that wall, and that was the pose that she was in before. And the reason why I chose this photo instead of the lying down one is because of how this came about. And I do this all the time, and I've done it for years. And it's just a matter of paying attention to what's going on. I said the model was lying down, and you could tell she was getting uncomfortable, with stone or concrete or whatever she's laying on, and the pose could not have been comfortable. There's no way that she was comfortable doing that. So I said, hey, why don't you, sit there for a second and relax. Well, she fell right into this pose. The only thing I had to change was her hand position, which I'm going to talk about in a second. And so paying attention and knowing that that's going to come up, instead of going back and fiddling with my photos, looking to see what I had in my screen, I'm actually still looking at the model, seeing what's going to happen next. And that can really be the time where you get some really awesome images. All right, so the break basically turned into another great photograph session. All right, so she kind of just fell into it, and it just happens all the time. I'm telling you, it really is amazing. Basically, pay attention. Look at what she's doing, or the model's doing, or the couple's doing, or the kids are doing in between those times when you're photographing them. Those times can really turn into some really amazing photos. Let's see. Next, speaking of I'd mentioned the hands. When you're posing hands, you don't want to take your hands, and number one, you don't really want to see the back of the hand. That's a bad thing. You also don't want the hands kind of pressed up into the face, so you get stuff like this and all of this stuff. No, you don't want that. You just want a nice soft placement. You don't want to be leaning. You don't want to create a double chin with the hand. Just stay away from that. You just want to kind of place the hand there, maybe turn it slightly so you see a little bit more of the back of the hand. If maybe you want to see a little bit more of the fingers, maybe you want to see the ring on her finger, whatever it may be. So just pay attention to all of those, and there's little intricacies that can really make a difference in your photos. I think that's, oh, last thing, leaning forward towards the camera. If she would have been leaning back, her legs would have been really big as compared to her face, and I don't think it wouldn't have looked good at all. I see a lot of those photos where the butt's towards the camera, or the legs or the arms towards the camera and has the wrong angle, whatever it may be. That's never a good thing. So you need to change your angle and get higher or lower if that is the pose that you want to stick with, or move the model, have them lean forward towards the camera, or maybe lean back a little bit, or have just change the position, change your position, so that you don't get that kind of awkward big limb, big butt, big leg, big arm, whatever kind of thing. So just kind of pay attention to that stuff. I've seen a few of those lately, and they're just not attractive. It doesn't look good for anyone. So I think that's about it for today. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. Greg Cazillo, Cazillo.com. Thanks, guys. See ya.